Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Clean Side Blaze. We're here for episode 7 for UTV podcast, and we got another special guest, but somebody from our hometown, my hometown, from my place right here. The way I discovered this dude was cool. You know, I felt like he was put in my way for a reason, and I reached out to him, and man, I appreciate that he came out. You know, the homie Richie Valley right here. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my boy.
It's Richie Valley. Richie from the Valley on all social media. Man, thanks for having me, bro.
Oh yeah, it's a pleasure. I got a simple question for you real quick.
Talk to me.
Who is Richie Valley?
So, I'll go into how I chose the name to start with. It is a reference to Richie Valens, you know,
exactly.
being from Pacoima.
Exactly, and you being from Pacoima.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, being from Pacoima, Richie Valens is a fucking legend, bro.
Yeah,
you know, fucking,
a big legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I grew up, I went to the same middle school, same high school.
What middle school was that?
Pacoima Middle.
Pacoima Middle. And the high school was what, San Fernando High?
San Fernando. I jumped around high schools, but yeah, I went to San Fernando for a good amount of.
People always mistake that San Fernando High School is like more San Fernando based. To be honest, San Fernando High School is a lot more Pacoima based. I mean, like it's a lot more Pacoima people that go over there. You know, most of the San Fernando kids go like to Silmar, you know, or so like I think what's the other high school out there? I think like Cesar Chavez or something. Maybe I'm tripping.
Cesar Chavez. We got Arleta. I went to Arleta for a lot of the
Arleta Mustangs.
Yeah.
They had a good football team for a while.
Yeah, that's why I went to go play ball there actually.
Yeah. You got into sports, and we'll get into that after. But let's circle back to your household. You know, what was the family like? You know, mom, dad, the brothers and sisters. Were you guys close knit? Were you guys kind of like distant with each other? You know, how was the house like growing up?
So I grew up I got 2 brothers, 2 sisters. I'm the youngest.
Right. So you're the baby of the family.
Yeah, my parents migrated over here from El Salvador.
Got you.
When they were young, and yeah, man, just being the youngest, just trying to.
You grew up close with your brothers and sisters?
Well, the thing is, I'm a pretty
the age gap.
There's a good gap, so pretty close still though.
Were they more like your uncles and tios instead of like your brothers and sisters because they were so much older?
Type shit, yeah. They're like another almost like having other parents, you know, like very very strict household, you know,
like traditional Hispanic family.
Yeah, exactly.
Very religion based. Right. And just old tradition ways, right? Like the mom's usually like the housemaker, the dad's out grinding.
Exactly.
You know, and then when the kids become of age, they start providing themselves, you know, and you could become at age like at 13, 12. As soon as the moment you know how to hustle, you know, you better provide. You know, one thing I learned about Pacoima, I lived a little bit over there by Humphrey Park for a while. Over there in Pacoima, right there by Dronefield. And one thing I noticed about Pacoima, like, okay, like this is a stereotypical thing especially for Hispanics. Like there's usually 10, 20 people in a house, you know? But that was Pacoima. You know, like every house you seen, there was like 10 whips outside, you know, but that's because they were jam-packing the homes. But one thing I noticed was like a lot of those kids that came out of those homes, because they were so tiny, because they sacrificed, you know, space and privacy and all that, because they all had to get it together like the old traditional way. A lot of them grew up to be successful, you know, and then they all got their homes and all that. But one thing I noticed about Pacoima is like, it was very like the family driven, you know, everything's very family driven, you know, like the homes are pretty much tight, close, you know, you obviously like, hey, don't get me twisted. There's a lot of things that go on in Pacoima. You know, it's not no sweet spot, but it just seems like I've always met people from Pacoima, and they come from a strong family. You know, do you feel like you come from that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I still stay at my parents' place. I rent a spot in the back. My brother too. The only ones who really moved out was my sisters. They went and started their own family.
Exactly. That's what usually takes them out. But like if anything ever fails, that's the house like everybody comes back to too, right? And that's hella cool, man. What type of music was coming out of the house? You know, what were you hearing when you were growing up as a kid?
Shit, I mean, hella cumbias, you know, fucking hella. I mean, you know, Sunday mornings, you fucking smell the Fabuloso and fucking.
It's cleaning day. You ain't sleeping in. You ain't sleeping in.
So a lot of cumbias, a lot of salsa.
One thing I noticed about there was this girl that I knew. I never knew she was Salvadorian, right? But she was a punk rocker, right? And we're talking about the punk rock scene, especially in East LA, because in East LA the punk rock scene was real strong growing up. You know, they had a lot of those backyard shows.
But
she put me on to a lot of Salvadorian rock music. And I'm like, I never noticed how like badass a lot of those like artists were. You know, it's kind of like you hear like Spanish rock, and a lot of it's like love music, you know, whatnot. Yeah. But nah, these motherfuckers are still like punk rockers. You know, I was like, damn, that's crazy. You know, so like I noticed like El Salvador, it has its own sound.
It does.
You know, it has its own taste. It has its own culture, even though like, you know, obviously we're all Latinos, you know, but it's just, you know, some of them you can kind of mix with like, oh, you know, like you can kind of can't tell the difference between like a Peruvian and a Chilean, you know?
Yeah.
But Salvadorians always seem to have like their own culture, you know, and especially like the big change that's happening back home in El Salvador, you know, it must be good things, you know?
Definitely.
Because a lot of people couldn't go back to the homeland. Are you interested? Have you ever been to the homeland? You've been back there?
So I went when I was 12, bro. And I haven't gone since. Mm-hmm. I started getting tatted. I got my first tattoo. I was 14.
Right.
You know, and then after that, I started getting covered up, and my parents were always worried because of
the whole politic thing over there. Yeah, we'll keep it at that.
So, yeah, I mean, their new president is fucking doing great things.
Yeah.
It seems
he just
like,
flipped it like he flipped the whole thing, you know. Yeah. And I was like, and a lot of people that I meet that are from El Salvador, they're like, damn, about time I get to go back.
Yeah.
And I look over my shoulder. About time I could go back and like explore without having to worry, you know?
Yeah, everyone seems very, very excited about it too. Yeah. Like even people who are not from El Salvador, just like I was just talking to my boss the other day. She was like, yeah, fucking, I want to go over there, you know, probably put some property over there.
Because nobody knows what it's like. I mean, you hear about like people from here going over there visiting, but it's usually like, hey, we had to stay in the house, you know, we had to like stay to ourselves. We couldn't really explore, but now it's like you can go over there and do all that, you know. And El Salvador has always been one of those, like, it's been a question mark, like, what is it like over there?
It's beautiful.
Like, you know, like what's the communities like? You know, what are the people like? What do you guys like over there? It's always been a question mark because nobody could really go explore.
Yeah.
You know, do you have interest in going back and just like, hey, I want to take full advantage?
Yeah, definitely. That's on the bucket list for this year for sure. I gotta go visit, man.
Yeah. 100%. What kind of kid were you growing up? Were you social? Were you distant? Were you an observer? Were you a follower? Like, were you one of those that like followed and kind of like, I'm gonna follow until I learn to lead?
I always been more of an observer for sure. I was kind of just say the least and just kind of just always peeping what's going on around me, and just a pretty troubled kid, low key.
Yeah. When did the trouble start coming?
I mean, I always had a short temper, so like I was always getting in fights in school. Always just.
Did that come from something? Like where was the temper coming from? Was it coming from something missing? Was it coming from frustration or something, or was it just like it was there and you didn't know why it was there?
Yeah, it was just there. Yeah. Like my pop's saying he's like he has a short temper. My brothers we're all pretty temperamental.
You know what's crazy? I read a book and it blew my mind, right? And I used to be tempered too when I was young, real tempered, you know, and now I'm like the opposite of it. You know, I'm very mellow, I'm cool.
Yeah.
But when I was tempered, I never knew why I was tempered, you know, because I wasn't frustrated at home. You know, I wasn't really missing nothing that I knew of, you know.
Right.
But what's crazy was, like you said, my dad did have a temper. My mom had a temper. And then also my grandpa had tempers, you know. So I learned about generational trauma, right? That your grandparents could have gone through something. Your great-grandparents could have gone through something. But it's the future that deals with the problems and all that. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. I never thought about that. Yeah. Like my temper could be coming from like my great grandfather, you know?
Yeah.
And at what point did you start noticing like, damn, I'm getting into some shit because of this temper? Did something happen? Was it like a fight, or was it like you getting older? Like when did your temper kind of like start regulating itself?
I feel like, yeah, just as like I still deal with it, you know, but I feel like now I'm more conscious of it. I know how to just control it better, you know?
Right.
Like I used to be real short fused. Now I feel like it's got to be something to get me there, you know? It's really got to be like a reason,
a root cause to it.
Yeah. Right. Before I just fucking something's going, like I'm not having a good day, I want to fucking punch a hole in the wall and shit.
Yeah. So what type of people were you looking up to as a kid? Were you looking up to homies, your siblings, family, artists, or who were your inspiration? You know, who were the people that you're like, damn, I just want to keep being with them until like I learn as much as I can. You know, as a kid, who was the ones that kind of like molded you to become who you are now?
I mean, moms and pops, you know, first and foremost, and
moms and pops for like the moral values.
They instilled, they raised me right. All my morals, like the way I carry myself.
Structure, your characters, exactly. Your character traits.
Yeah, and then all my siblings too. Yeah, just watching them, how they grew up, kind of learning from their mistakes and learning from just watching what they do. And yeah.
You had any hobbies?
I was always an active kid. Like I played a lot of sports.
Yeah, what were your sports?
I grew up playing basketball. Like played at the park and shit.
Yeah, the recreational
parks.
Don't get it twisted, man. We had to learn how to play those. Like, you know, those had some ballers in them. You know, then you go to the YMCA. You know, then you start doing traveling ball. Then you get to like high school. Did you go into high school with it?
Not basketball. I'm short, dog. So once I didn't fucking catch up. So
you could have been like the Mexican or Boykins, dog. You don't ever know shit. You know.
What's his name? Nate Robinson.
Hell yeah.
I always had hops too. I could still ball. Like I go to the park and I'm like, I could be center. Like I be boxing motherfuckers out, catching rebounds still. Like,
you know when I stopped playing basketball? I stopped playing basketball because these dudes almost converted me into a Mormon. Right, I was staying in San Diego. Trip out. I was staying in San Diego, and I was balling with the homies. You know, we're just playing some basketball, and it's just a day where like these dudes in a white long sleeve shirt, some dress pants, some dress shoes came walking up to the court. They're like, "What's up, man? Can we ball with you guys?" And we're like, "Man, what the fuck?" I was over here like dress shirts and dress pants and shit. They were Mormons, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, look, if we beat you guys, you have to convert."
Oh shit.
Well, like, man, you'll get out of here with that bullshit. It was kind of like that Prince story, you know, when he was playing against Charlie Murphy. You ever seen that?
Nah.
All right. Well, yeah, like, man, these dudes balled us up, man. And I never knew these dudes were from like Utah State, and they were real ballers, bro. And I damn near almost converted into a fucking Mormon over a basketball game, you know. Well, so your hobbies, as far as like besides sports, were you like artistic? Were you into any type of like art or anything like that before you got into music?
Yeah. I like to draw. I always like to draw.
Yeah.
I was always a fan of like airbrush and fucking.
Remember when airbrushing was the thing back then?
All the pinstripe fucking like shit like that. I was always a fan of that.
What was your favorite Cartoon Network station, or your cartoon station growing up as a kid? Were you a Cartoon Network kid? Were you a Nickelodeon kid? Were you a PBS or
my favorite show growing up was Ed, Ed and Eddie. That was like my.
Tell me why. That's my favorite fucking show of all time, dog. Like, you're the first homie that I met that liked that show too.
Yeah.
You know, what was it about the show that you liked?
I mean, growing up, like thinking about it now, it's like they would just wake up every day like, how are we gonna get to this money? Dog?
Hey, the homie was on a money mission every single day. Hey, look, I'll tell you this, Cartoon Network. I was a Cartoon Network kid, man, and then Eddie was one of them. But like, I learned something from each one of those cartoons, right? Like, and Eddie was about getting to the bag. You know, Dexter's Laboratory was about taking chances on things and you know, just keep going. You know, because how many times did he have failed experiences? You know, And then you had like Courage the Cowardly Dog. About, you know, like that. I learned my braveness from that. You know, because the dude was in the middle of nowhere, scared shitless from all the shit happening around him, and he still had to be a G and deal with it. You know, So like, Cartoon Network was like different from like Nickelodeon and Disney shit. It was all its own brand. And then if you stayed up past 10, like Adult Swim would come on, and that's when the other weird ass cartoons would start coming on and shit. So when did music come in? You know, when did you start like, you know, when did you go from a fan to being a composer of music? When did you start thinking like, hey, I want to start trying this out? And what was it? So
my first venture with music, as far as like composing it, I started playing guitar.
Gotcha.
So my grandpa and my uncle, they're guitar players.
Right.
My grandpa to this day, he's pushing 90. He will
still get down on it.
He will grab his guitar, walk his ass to the park, and go play all day, bro. Like he still to this day plays the guitar. And so yeah, they taught me how to play the guitar. I joined a band. Fucking.
What kind of music were you guys doing?
Ska.
Yeah, man, ska's beautiful. But ska's, I'm not talking about ska as far as like listening to on your phone or on the radio. Like being in the live performances, listening to ska, it's like a whole different environment.
Yeah,
because my two brothers grew up separate from me, but on the weekends we still hang out. But my oldest brother was a punk rocker, and every time, like, he had his band and we'll go to his shows and it'll be punk rockers and ska, and it's just like hearing the horns, and the guitar, like how everything just kind of meshes. There's so many different genres into one, right? 'Cause you got reggae, you got punk, right? And then you got like soft rock, right? And then you got a little bit of, you got jazz, you got blues, you got R&B, you got everything in it. So what was some of your success like during in a band, or was it more like stepping stones? Like,
it was more of a stepping stone, definitely. It wasn't nothing too serious. It's just a group of homies. Like we would just practice in the homie who was the drummer. We would practice at his house just whenever we could. Whenever we would get off school. I was in middle school at the time, so yeah, whenever we could, we played a couple shows.
Backyard shows.
The ska show scene, like out here in the valley too, it was so fun, bro.
Hell yeah.
I had no business at 13 years old being at a fucking backyard show, bro. But it's man.
I believe there was a band that came out of Pacoima, a punk rock band back then. I might be wrong, but shout out to these homegirls. They were called Las Cochinas.
Las Cochinas.
I gotta look them up. I don't even know if they're even together anymore. But those homegirls used to get down at shows. Like people would have mosh pits and shit.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have mosh pits for your shows?
Hell yeah, bro. I fucking love mosh pits.
Did you ever get cracked in one?
Hell yeah. I was small as fuck. I'm small and skinny, dog. Like I'll get tossed around, bro. Yeah. Especially some of these punkers are,
they're big motherfuckers. But they've been moshing for years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they've been moshing for years. And I went to the first mosh pit I went to. Was for a Slipknot concert. But this shit was so big, bro. And I was like probably like 13, 14. And I'm like, nah, I'm cool. But the punk rock ones are like a lot smaller, but they're more vicious, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and motherfuckers are swinging. And I like it when I don't condone women getting hit, but it's funny when I look in the mosh pit, you see this female in there, and just some dude just comes up, cracks her.
Damn. Yeah, I've
seen that countless times.
But what I loved about the pits, especially like the backyard shows, was if somebody got knocked to the ground,
everybody stops, pull them up.
Everybody stops, pick them up. All right, let's keep going. Pick them up and then fucking push them.
Or somebody passes out, everybody stops. You see somebody getting carried to the back, and then they keep going.
Like there's no one's getting trampled and shit. It was always that type of respect. Still. Like of course, we'll fuck you up in the pit, but like we're not trying to hurt you.
We're not trying to kill you. Just mash with us and that's it.
Yeah.
What were some of your early music influences? Who were you listening to very young? What was a young Richie Valley listening to?
So like hip hop wise, so before I got into like playing guitar, because of my brothers, they were listening to a lot of Tupac, a lot of West Coast shit, a lot of Tupac, a lot of Nate Dogg, a lot of Above the Law, a lot of
South Central Cartel,
G-Funk shit, like
Shade Shies.
Yeah.
And the list goes on. Yeah. Warren G, the fucking 213.
Yeah, DJ Quick,
MCA, even Spice One back then. Welcome to the Ghetto.
Yeah.
That was one of my. But Welcome to the Ghetto by Spice One. I loved how that beat was so like nee. And it was like, okay, what? And then it kicks in and you're like, oh, okay, damn.
Yeah.
As a young kid, I was never really like influenced by like the Bay, but like when I got older, I started appreciating it more, like their old school stuff.
Definitely.
Outside of because I feel like us in LA, we're automatically drawn to the West Coast stuff right away, very young, right? Because it's the homies, the neighbors, it's the family. Everybody's bumping West Coast. We're automatically put onto it. But we get to that phase where we step out of the West Coast and we drift off into something. What did you drift off into?
Biggie. I remember it's funny because my brother's a fucking diehard Tupac fan, so when the first time he heard me playing Biggie, he's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, turn that shit off, fool.
That shit starts beats every time.
So, Biggie was Wu-Tang, so that was like early West Coast. Like when I was listening to Tupac, I never really thought of like, oh yeah, I want to make music like them. You feel me? But
it sparked something.
Yeah,
it sparked something.
Yeah, sounds.
You remember what Tupac song stood out to you?
I wonder, or you wonder why they call you bitch. That
this, hey, we were like 4 or 5 years old, having no business listening to that shit.
I was in middle school.
But I went back to school knowing why they were calling all these little skunk ass bitches in school now. Shit, you ain't lying. I remember my mom used to bother, but I was like, wonder why they call you bitch.
Yeah,
man, that song was so like, but it was so the way he was able to just like give it to you. Mm-hmm. Like, here it is on a platter. You know, This is what it is. You know, and it's like there was no sugarcoat. Where Tupac was so raw and aggressive and he was very straight to it, Biggie just had like the flavors. Right. He had the swag, he had the flow, but at the same time still keeping the essence of hip hop with not just giving you one syllable words and just giving you plain old like, you know, rap, hat, cat, fact. The homie was still spitting bars. And it was coming from them New York roots. So I listened to some of your music and I noticed like you are East Coast influence, right? Like you do, I could see that you mirrored a lot of your skills and abilities with West Coast sounds. I mean East Coast sounds.
Definitely.
Right? Who else outside of Biggie were you listening to?
Wu-Tang.
Big L?
Big L was the first artist that I heard, and I'm like, yo, I want to rap like this.
What song was it? For me, it was MVP.
Put It On. And Fed Up with That Bullshit.
The one he did with Big Pun.
All Black.
I mean, not Big Pun, Fat Joe. What was that one called? It was Big L and Fat Joe.
Damn.
I can't even put my fucking name on it.
Off the top, I can't think of it. I'm going to look that up.
But man, they went so hard. I'll give it to Fat Joe. I never thought Fat Joe to be like a lyricist, you know? But that one, he was keeping up.
Yeah.
You know, what about like Big Pun? You know,
Big Pun, hell yeah. Dog, fucking Twins. Like, the flow is crazy, but also like if you actually listen to the shit, like they're talking shit, you know?
One name I'll throw out there who on the East Coast, like after I heard obviously the two most famous songs, I looked more into his catalog and I was like, holy shit, like where have I been with this dude? Was Immortal Technique. You know, I don't know if you listen too much to Immortal Technique. Obviously he had like Dancing the Devil and he had the one about the girl. Remember where she ended up dying from cancer and all that?
Oh, yeah.
I forgot. I'm losing names. But he had other songs out there like Peruvian Coke, Obnoxious. So many. The Revolutionary 3 album was just so fucking hard, you know?
Slept on heavy.
You coming from the Valley, right? I heard your sound and I'm like, I haven't heard somebody try to do hip hop like the way you do it since like the Self-Provoked days, and those have been some days. You know, obviously, no, I'm not saying that Self-Provoked ain't who he is, anyways. But Self-Provoked was giving you like, hey, the homie could go up against any rapper from any section, right?
Yeah,
bar for bar. You know what I'm saying? And I don't feel like we've had that in a while. You know, when I looked you up, I'm like, okay, I think this homie has like a lot of potential, right? What is it about every track and every song that you do where like you're telling yourself, I want to get better, I could do better, you know?
Yeah, so I'm very OCD about shit, you know, that this is part of the reason why I don't have as much music out. I just be like, just trying to perfect it almost.
One at a time.
I'm a writer, like a lot of people go in and just freestyle, like, all right, let's put it out, you know?
Right.
I can't do that all the time, you feel me? Like, I really like to get into like, it's a craft for me.
Yeah,
try to perfect it. Nothing's gonna be perfect, but
was the beginning journey a solo journey or were you doing it with friends?
So I got into rapping because the homie, he was a sick ass, he could freestyle, you know?
Yeah.
So how I really got into it, I started beatboxing before I ever started rapping.
Yeah.
We'll go to parties and I'll fucking, you know, beatbox and these fools would start ciphering, and then once they'll get tired of rapping, or once I'll get all caught him out that couldn't beatbox no more, then the homie would beatbox and then put me on the spot, you know? So I had to.
So like,
I had to learn,
Those are the make you break you moments.
Exactly.
Right? You could be like, oh, no, homie, I'm cool.
Yeah.
You know, or you could be like, fuck it.
Yeah.
If it's trash or not, I'm going to spit some. There's a group that came out of your section. I don't know if you ever heard of them or possibly heard them, but they kind of like, there were some real raw spitters from your section too, was the Rhyme Addicts. You remember the Rhyme Addicts? Like XP, I suppose. What was the other dude's name?
XP the Marksman?
The Marksman.
Yeah.
XP the Marksman's another like.
I suppose.
I forgot to give them the credit too. But I would see you working with somebody like XP, man. Like out of them three, XP's like, I think that would be a good one for you right there. Is there anybody from the Valley like you would want to work with that you see yourself, or you just kind of like I'm not focused on that right now?
Well, there's man, I could go all day about. I could just name drop the rest of this interview, like Valley artists that I have been working with. Shout out like Vonnie Ocho.
Yeah, Vonnie Ocho. Yeah, I know.
He's been pushing my youngins of Forever Valley, like Nova and Vice Vic.
Yeah.
Shit. If I forget anybody, I'm sorry. I'm a little fried right now. But
when you were coming up as a young artist, did you look up to any 818 artists that were coming up? Or was it kind of dead? Because I remember we had a lot of dry spells. Yeah, don't get me wrong. We had a lot of dry spells.
Even like I feel like even 818 artists didn't really
become that.
Didn't really say they were 818 artists. You know, it was they're always labeled like
LA artists.
Like LA artists. You feel me?
I feel like Hobson was the only one that kind of made it and like kept saying he was from the Valley.
Yeah,
you know, and I appreciated that because he was real hip hop
too. Right?
He was from Panorama.
Yeah.
What were some of your early struggles as an artist?
Early struggles, I think, just putting shit out. I think I just
like didn't know how to push it out.
I just wouldn't. I would just keep stacking. Like, well, when I started making music, I didn't really think about like, oh yeah, we're gonna put this shit out. We're gonna make money. We're gonna make it.
Yeah, it's gonna become something.
It was just more of a hobby. It's just like a therapeutic kind of just
a way of escaping.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So putting shit out, I think, would be my biggest struggle early on.
Who were some of your first round of like supporters that were telling you like, hey, keep going, keep pushing, keep doing it?
Man.
Was it like family? Were friends, strangers?
Yeah, I mean my boy Angel, he's like my manager right now. And he always reminds me like, bro, you can't let the talent go to waste, you know? So
like you got something.
Yeah, definitely. And my brothers too, they always pushing.
What age were you when you started taking it seriously? Like you went from like, okay, like you said, you know, you didn't know how to do things. You were just kind of stacking things. And then you went from like, you know what, this is going to be what I'm going to be. You know, I'm going to take this serious from here on forward.
So like 2019, I actually started recording to put it out on like all platforms. Like I got familiar with like distribution. And so I would say like around 2019 was when I started actually trying to take it serious and get it heard by other people, you know?
Right. Do you remember the first song that you did where you kind of told yourself like, oh shit, I got something?
Man, that would probably go back to like the SoundCloud days before like 2018. I was making music with the homie Sick Made.
You remember the name of the song? Or some of the lyrics?
Yeah, we did one. It was called Riding the Wave. Yeah, that one that's still on SoundCloud too. And then we did a Too Much. It's called Too Much Freestyle.
Yeah,
that was another one too.
What was it about the tracks that just told you like? Was it your writing skills? Was it just like your people hyping you up? Be like, hey man, you fucking killed it. You weren't thinking. You're like, damn, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, a little of both. Yeah.
Okay.
Just like I didn't realize like, oh shit, I could really
do something.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just doing it like for fun, you know?
If I gotta ask you, what keeps you motivated to keep going?
I just love doing it, bro. Just the love, just
the passion,
the craft. The you feel me? Like I'm pretty. I just love doing this shit.
Yeah.
Just trying to get better every time.
Can you give me a moment you bombed on a show? Or on a freestyle where you kind of like, you ever had a choking moment?
Hell yeah, all the time.
You're kind of like, fuck.
Yeah, bro,
I might want to stop. Yeah.
I think
you come from a ska background, so I'm asking you that for a reason, right? Because there's some dudes who like choke and like they'll be like, fuck it, I fucked up, right?
Yeah.
But ska people that who play in bands like ska and punk rock and any real band know when you fuck up, you keep going.
Hell yeah.
Right. Did you know that already? Or did you have to go through it a couple times?
Nah, yeah, you know it on the spot. Like,
on the spot. Just keep going.
Yeah. just keep going. Just push through it type shit. Smaller shows are always, I'd rather perform in front of a fucking sea full of people than like a small venue is always hard, more intimate performance. For me, it's a little tougher to rock.
Who do you see yourself working with right now? Do you have anybody local that you're kind of like, I want to work with that person? And then I'll kind of go outside of local, right? But locally, is there anybody you do want to work with as far as artist or producer?
Well, you mentioned Self Provoke earlier. It's definitely got to get one in with Self Provoke.
That would be dope right there. You remember Severe, Baby Franco? The one that was on that song with Self Provoked. I think it was called Revival or something. But he was kind of like a hard spitter with Self Provoked too.
What was his name again?
Severe.
Severe. Yeah. I gotta look that up. No, I'm not familiar.
That'd be like a good trio right there. You know, because Severe used to keep up with Self Provoked too. You know, but that's because I mean, if the bar is there, you know, you got to keep it there or go even above it. You know, how do you keep your circle small? How do you keep your circle what it is? You know, do you keep them? Do you set your boundaries up? You know what I mean? Because in this game, like at the end of the day, it's a snake game, right?
Yeah.
Like at any moment you could be screwed. At any moment, you know, it happens to every artist. It happens to every person in this industry, right?
Just, I mean, the group of homies that I have, like I went to middle school with, you know, I went to elementary with them, so pretty much just
it's the home team.
Yeah, the home team. You know, just don't
kind of elaborate, because I feel like that's kind of like just an LA thing, that word home team, right? When we call our families like, hey, what's up, home team?
Yeah,
right. Like, what does that word home team mean to you?
Shit, I mean, you know, we grew up fucking
bonding.
Yeah, doing dumb shit together.
Yeah. The D-Dog days, the fucking stealing, the fightings, the getting chased at, you know, like just as much as we was bullshitting and fucking around, we was getting fucked with too, you know? Like so like you go through those experiences with them and all that, you know? I feel like growing up with social media involved, electronics and all that, it kind of takes that away.
Yeah,
right. Because like when we were kids, we were able to be kids.
To go outside and
fucking
ride bikes.
Go on bikes. Remember, you had pegs.
Neighbors and
you would have pegs in the front and back, so you'll have a homie in the front and back. You know, like go on the handlebar. Yeah, but I feel like we kind of lose that, you know. And recently, like I've been with the little homies, and I expressed to them like the importance of building bonds within each other. Yeah, you know, and why that's so important, because of, you know, you get strong supporters, you know, from the people you bonded with. You know, they're gonna be there for you regardless. Yeah. You know, do you get that same support from your family?
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, they're very supportive of what I do. Yeah, family and my close homies, they're always pushing me, pushing me to do better, you know?
Who's that one person that pushes you even further? There's always that one that could, to be honest with you, be like, hey man, I feel like that shit was trash. I do it again.
Yeah, my boy Angel, he's definitely on my ass all the time, bro.
How important is it for an artist to have somebody like that for them?
Oh, it's important, man. You got to be honest with your homies too. Like you can't just hype them up on some like, hey, yeah, that shit was fire if it wasn't. You feel me? You gotta be honest. Like, hey, do better. Right. And that's gonna build, and they're gonna appreciate. Maybe at the moment they're gonna be like, this was hating, but later on they're gonna look back like, all right, like.
When did you feel like what song was it, or what was it that you started feeling like, hey, I'm gaining traction, I'm starting to get a lot of foot traffic towards my stuff, you know, my music, I'm starting to do something, you know? When did you start feeling like that started coming into play?
Probably my first video that I did, it was called Summertime in Pacoima. Yeah. Yeah, just the fact that like everyone popped out on such short notice. Like I just posted it on my story, like, shoot a video, pull up, and I did not expect so many people to pull up. Right. And
Pacoima people, well, I mean, like the Valley has its own section, its own cities all over, right? But I feel like there's 4 original cities in the Valley, right? Like the old school ones, right? Mm-hmm. It's obviously Pacoima, it's obviously San Fernando, and it's obviously Van Nuys, and it's Canoga. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like whenever it's time for those cities to pop out, like everybody pops out. Yeah. You know, they're like, it's for Pacoima, we coming out. Yeah. Oh, it's for Van Nuys, we coming out. You know, like, what's the culture like in Pacoima? You know, give me what it's like growing up in Pacoima. Give me what it's like just being around your neighborhood, your hometown.
So for me, growing up, I grew up skateboarding. Like after playing ball, I picked up skateboarding, and that was my real like
passion.
My real passion, and also my real like first experience of being on the streets. Yeah. You feel me? Like just being out and about, fucking around. And
you start exploring.
Exactly. Yeah. You, like, there's no like, oh, give me a ride here. Like, you get on the board, hop on a bus, or fucking.
The good thing about us is like our bus system is perfect. Yeah, like you could take a bus anywhere.
Hell yeah,
you know. And then when the Orange Line came into play, it was a wrap. You could go all the way from the east to the west, you know.
Hell yeah.
But back then, you would have to like skateboard to go like catch this bus. If you missed it, you're like, fuck, I gotta go all the way down these couple streets to skateboard, you know.
Hell yeah.
How many bones have you breaking with skateboarding? Have you break any bones?
No, thankfully, I never broke anything. I had a lot of sprains. Yeah, no, I never broke anything.
You know what's crazy? Right outside the studio right here, when I used to skateboard, I never skateboard for tricks. I skateboard to get around. Right. Like I was one of those. But one time I was skateboarding and fuck it, I don't know how many times this happened to you guys, but
a rock.
They got stuck in the tire. Real skateboarders know this, right? Hey, look, my tire hit a rock. I flew, snapped my wrist. It was done.
Damn.
Right? Some paisa came in a truck, picked me up, and threw me in the bag. He's like, hey, I'll take you home. I could have got kidnapped. Thank God it didn't, you know? But I got home, and my dad's like, what the fuck happened to your wrist? And I'm like, man, I tried to like 360 off these stairs, and my shit snapped. I'm like, I'm trying to get sponsored out here. He's like, all right, at least you're doing some badass shit, you know. But little did they know, fucking tire got, fucking rock got stuck in the tire, you know.
God damn.
Who were some of the skateboarders you were looking up to growing up?
Andrew Reynolds. The whole Baker team, you know, P-Rod, fucking my favorite skater who I really wanted to like, his style is just Brian Herman. Yeah, the hard flips, like crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Billy Marks, Toy Machine.
I was talking to Nova Rose about skateboarding too, and one thing I asked him was like, "Hey, what were some of your favorite skateboard brands? You know, what were some of your favorite ones?"
So my favorite to skate was a Toy Machine. I just like the graphics.
Yeah,
the graphics were just different.
I feel like Toy Machine, Spitfire, and Alien Workshop had like the best design, like the craziest designs. Yeah. But Alien Workshop was my favorite.
Hell yeah.
You know, they just had some like way out designs, you know, but then Baker came into play.
Yeah.
You know, and I got my first Baker board. It was a black and yellow one. I was thinking, I'm like, it's crazy because back in the days, I used to think like you would have to hustle to get a board because that shit wasn't cheap.
Hell yeah.
You know, like luckily a homie will give you a board and you just have to go get the, you know, the trucks and the tires and the bearings.
Yeah.
But if not, you would have to pay like $150. And back then that shit wasn't cheap.
Hell
you know,
nah.
I know one of the stores I used to go to was like Val Surf. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yeah, Burbank.
Yeah, Burbank. And then we had one back in, I want to say like the early 2000s on Sepulveda. It was like this trap house, but they had a ramp in the back. So all the Valley kids would go there because the Van Nuys skate park wasn't there yet. You know, what was some of the parks you were hitting?
So growing up, we did a lot of street spots. Mostly, like we would jump into schools.
Yeah,
we didn't really until P-Rod did the Richie Valens. He built his Nike Plaza at Richie Valens Park.
Right there off of Paxton.
Yeah, right on Paxton and Lower Canyon. That was my second home. I was there more than I was at the crib, you know, when that shit opened.
And it's cool because Paxton's split in two different parks.
Yeah.
You know, and you have the handball courts.
The handball courts.
And everything. And yes. There's a couple of times we went over and play handball. It was cool, you know? But so skateboarding came, so you obviously do music, you do skateboarding. Mm-hmm. So this only ties into other things. You know, you said you did big boxing. Did you do graphing? Because, you know, graph usually comes with it too.
Yeah.
No? When did you get into graph?
Around high school. Like, I always been writing on shit, but actually like getting in the crew and fucking starting to get up, trying to do that was like around high school.
Who got you into it? Or what got you into it?
I think it was just mostly like just trying to get up. Just trying to
be known.
Yeah.
Who were some of the guys that were popping at that time? That you kind of like seeing like, this fool's everywhere.
Oh, RK, RB, like those crews. It was a
THX.
Yeah.
THX was always around everywhere.
Yeah.
The BNWs, the fucking CBS, TKO, MTA,
STP,
FP.
Yeah.
Who were some of the riders you looked up to? Did you look up to any riders? Like, that fool gets up.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone, bro. To be honest, I would just remember always seeing RK and RB everywhere.
Yeah, I would see iRock everywhere too. IROC. Yeah. Taxes everywhere, but this fool don't even do nothing fancy. It's just like the homies can't stand up. Man, this fool be hitting up everywhere, fool. But it's just simple plain letters. It's just like, man, what the fuck? But fool, yeah, he's just fucking hitting up everywhere. Tax was one of them. Havoc was another one.
Yeah.
Black War. You know,
I remember seeing Blunts too. Blunts. MM, Flame.
Yeah.
Like
OJ was another one. That's the one that passed away from needle pushers. I remember to see his name around a lot. You know, man, shout out to needle pushers.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about, like, do you have interest? Do you think you're ever going to get to the point where you want to have interest in other things, right? Like, do you eventually want to start acting? Do you want to eventually start managing? Do you want to get into like businesses?
Yeah.
Do you have other ventures you're interested in as well?
Yeah. Acting is a good one. I'm glad you brought that up. I really want to get into like start doing improv classes and shit like that. I would really like to start. I've been practicing on like screenwriting, trying to write scripts.
Yeah, exactly. Like short films.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a writer. Like I'll sit down and write all day, you know. So really, screenwriting I think would be the biggest one.
Well, who knows? Maybe ETV will give you your first play right here.
Yeah.
Screenshot or a short story or something, man. I think short stories are cool, man. Like it's a different avenue, you know. And I think it's very important for an artist to have their hands in other avenues, you know, because music is just like basketball. It's just like football. It's just like baseball. If you're trying to take it serious, you're going against the whole country. You know, you're gonna have to stand out over millions. You know. Unless you have something different about yourself, right? What can you tell me is what is different about you than every other artist around right now, and like around us in our local community?
I mean, what I've seen is a lot of people just want to make it, you know, like they're trying to, and of course it's good to have a goal, to have an end game, but I feel like just focusing on that too much kind of drifts you away from the passion, and like just you gotta love what you do, you know. You gotta enjoy doing it and not really think about like, oh, it's gonna make us this much money. You feel me? So I think that would probably set me aside. Like I don't really care if I make it. I'm still gonna do this shit.
Yeah.
Regardless.
So quick question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, dog? Do you see yourself still doing this? Do you see yourself on a label? Do you see yourself having your own stuff going on? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Yeah, definitely still doing this. I'm trying to get some merch, trying to get a storefront set up soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely trying to drift towards the merch side of things, like clothing and vinyl records and shit like that.
Right. Like special shit, right?
Yeah.
Now, outside of California, who would you love to work for? I mean, who would you love to work with? Sorry. As far as artists, like, is there anybody from like Chicago, Atlanta, New York, you know, Florida, Oklahoma? Because we always LA artists always stay here and we get comfortable, you know, until we figure out like, fuck, I can only do so much here.
Yeah.
You know, because like I had told the homie before, people in Atlanta, Chicago, New York, Miami, Europe, Russia ain't really listening to West Coast music if it sounds like West Coast.
Facts.
Right? Like, if you go to Chicago, nobody's really bumping YG out there, or like, you know, like a lot of our artists, or what's gonna make you different and be able to, or who would you want to work with and be like, I feel like that person could change my course and keep me and make me like an open book where everybody could come work with me.
I mean, outside of California, I feel like Andre 3000 would be like the dream fucking.
Yeah.
I think
Outkast in general.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Man, I'm cooler than the polar bear's toenail. Oh, hell, here we go again. Talking that shit.
If he's not on your top 5, like,
Andre 3000 is something else.
Whoever is on your top 5, he's on their top 5.
Yeah. You know for sure. Like, J. Cole's one of my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
But I know he looks up to Andre 3000, you know, because there's a lot of similarities there. You know, I think me personally, I would love to work with the whole Dreamville camp. You know, like JID, Earth Gang,
Boss.
was like, it's just one after another. I feel like they have like the real essence of hip hop on that label. Mm-hmm. You know, Reason from TDE is actually hard. He's pretty hard too. Hell you know, Ab-Soul is somebody I would love to work with too. Ab-Soul. You got any producers you would want to work with?
Alchemist.
Dope. Super hard. I didn't even think about that.
Outside of California though, I mean DJ Premier, shit. That would be like
Just Blaze was another one.
Just Blaze.
He was coming out with bangers.
Yeah. Fucking Black Star.
Yeah, Black Star is another one.
Yeah.
Now, what do you want out of all this, right? When you make it, when you're finally there, right? What's the one thing you want to be able to be like, I got that. Like I'm proud of it. Fuck it. I worked so hard for this. You know, what's that one thing?
Security, I think. You know, once it's all said and done, I would love to just be able to take care of everybody. You feel me? Everybody. Yeah, that would be the one thing.
That's dope, man. What type of person were you like after high school and shit? Were you like into parties and shit? Were you like running amok, having fun, or were you just kind of like working on building yourself?
After high school, not really. Yeah, parties, shows and shit.
Have any crazy ass party stories?
Man, yeah. Backyard shows, man. Fuck.
That shit's always go south.
Yeah, I remember I was at this show one time, and there's this big fucking psychobilly looking motherfucker, and he was with this chick. But he was just, I would see him at all the shows, right?
Rockabilly, psychobillies, all those motherfuckers are crazy.
Yeah, so he was in the pit. I think he was already busted open, but he got busted open. He just started gushing.
Yeah.
His girl took out the fucking kit and started sewing him up on the spot. Like that was probably one of the.
What the fuck?
She took out the suit.
You got me fucked up. I want a roundhouse her ass coming at me with that shit. Well, that's fucking. So wait, you're telling me this fool got crack and she had all the shit on her just a song? She probably got that shit off of her fucking vest too, because you know they got nothing but pins and threads on that shit. You know?
Yeah.
The thing about punk rockers, psychobillies, rockabillies and shit is like those motherfuckers were the savages of savages.
Yeah.
You know, but they were so fucking cool and dope to be kicking it with. You know, you're always gonna have a good time.
People, like,
some of the nicest people, they got the biggest hearts, but they're wild motherfuckers.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the bad side of them.
Hell no. So at the end of these podcasts, man, I usually ask like rounds of questions, right? Like just so like people kind of get to know you, you know, like kind of rapid fire questions and shit, you know? Mm-hmm. So my first question is, if you're on an island, you could only listen to 3 artists for a whole year, who would you listen to?
Damn. That's fucked up, dog. 3 artists?
We fucking up people's lives over here.
3 artists. I mean, does Wu-Tang count as one artist?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah,
100 artists. That's 100 artists. Shit, those motherfuckers are deep. They're deeper than most neighborhoods out here. Shit.
I go with Wu-Tang.
Hell yeah. Method Man and Redman were, man, the craziest duo I think of all of hip hop. Yeah. You know, just like the raw ass, like good spitters they are. You just can't match it.
The beat selection.
The beat selection, because that's one thing like New York hip hop gets a lot of shit about. It's like, yeah, y'all can rhyme, y'all can spit, but your beat selection is trash.
Yeah.
Right? But Method Man and Redman didn't have that. Like, those motherfuckers, I think A$AP Rocky's one of those two where, like, you had some good beat selections, you know?
Yeah.
But not, even Big L, I would say Big L had some good beat selections, but you had people like Nas who, like, had raw ass songs, but the beats weren't all that. That's why Jay-Z kind of, like, some people pick Jay-Z over him. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
So, other than Wu-Tang, who else you got?
We'll go Wu-Tang. We'll go Dr. Dre just because I get Snoop. I get. You
get everybody.
I get a little bit of everything. So
even from old to new.
Dr. Dre, and last we'll go. Shit, we'll throw some. I don't even know, man. That's a tough ass question. Holy shit, I was not prepared for this.
Hell no, nobody ever is. I'm gonna change the name of the show to keep them guessing.
Yeah, dog. I'll probably just have to say, yeah, we'll go with Outkast.
Outkast?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's so many. I can never pronounce the album. What is it? Playlistic Catalyst. Where's that line?
Yeah.
It's a hard ass album. AT Aliens, man. You gotta fuck it. You gotta get up, get out, get so. When I was in Juvenile Hall, Cat Miller Mr. Gutierrez, fuck you. I feel like I live my life living hell. This fool always wakes us up every Saturday. Well, get up. You gotta get up, get out, and get something. Don't let the days of your lives go by.
Yeah.
I'm like, that. She used to motivate me. I still bump it till now.
Hell yeah.
Now, if you're on this fucking island, you can only watch 3 movies. What 3 movies are these?
Paid in Full. Number 1, Scarface. Last movie. I watched Wolf of Wall Street was a fucking great movie. I'll go.
It's crazy. I want to party every time I watch that shit. Yeah. This was like they had good making money doing coke and all that shit. Like these motherfuckers going balls to the wall. Like, what the fuck?
I remember the first time I seen it. It's a 3-hour movie, bro.
Yeah, but you watched the whole thing.
I watched the whole thing. Not only that, I ran it back. So I watched.
So you don't miss nothing.
I watched it back to back.
Yeah.
Bro, like fucking 6 hours of just degeneracy.
It's just dumb shit.
For real.
If you go anywhere in the world right now, bro, just pick up your shit and just go for a week. Where would you go? Like, where would you want to go explore and visit?
Probably, I would say probably Jamaica.
What about Jamaica is it that gravitates you towards over there?
I think just since a kid, just being a young fucking weed smoker, you know, you always see the red, green, and the yellow.
It's the music.
Yeah, the music.
The culture, everything.
And then now getting older, like, it's just nice fucking waters out there. It looks beautiful. I love to go fucking smoke some weed on the fucking beach out there.
Just chill. Get away from everything, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we tend to do that from the valley, dog. Like, sometimes we just want to get away for a little bit. Then we come back to it because it's such a rat race here. Right?
Facts.
I'm gonna ask you a quick question. I mean, a personal question. What do you think the meaning of life is?
Meaning of life. For me, it's shit. You gotta just leave something, right? Leave your mark. I think.
That's beautiful. Hell yeah. I always tell all the homies that, like, you ain't gotta be the baddest, the craziest.
Yeah.
But find what you do and do it 100%. Do that, you know, and be solid at it. You know, whatever it is, dog. Like it could be legit shit, not legit shit, but whatever it is, dog. Like just do it 100%. You know, because we tend to like see those homies who are like try to pick it up, but they get discouraged. You know, or they get like overwhelmed. Like, nah, it's too hard. I'm not gonna keep up with this. Like, you're kind of like, damn, homie, if only you knew. You know, what's one thing you regret in life?
One thing I regret. I don't really have too many regrets. I think just maybe the time that I've wasted will probably be the only regret. You know, you can't get that time back.
But at least it's like a lesson learned.
Yeah, lesson learned. So it's not really like
a regret.
Exactly.
That's what I was trying to get at. I usually ask people like, you know, what are your regrets? And they're like, oh, you know, I regret this, I regret that. And in my head, I think like, okay, you haven't came to peace with that yet.
Yeah.
Because if you come to peace with things, you'll be like, there's no regrets. I mean, like, it's just learning lessons.
Yeah.
You know? So that's the cool thing that you said that, because I could relate to it very well. What's the one thing you wish you knew, like, before your career started, that you wish you knew so you could take it with you?
Man, if I could go back.
If you go back.
I wish I would know Bitcoin was going to go to 100K.
Shout out Bitcoin. Hey, everybody, shout out my boy Baby Boom. He does car detailing, but I remember we were outside the body shop and everybody was surrounding the homie. And he was telling everybody, like, November, December, he goes, invest your money into XRP and Pepe right now.
Yeah.
He's like, put that shit in XRP. He goes, trust me, when Trump gets in office, that shit's going to blow up. And sure enough, I had my girl, I told everybody, I'm like, put in $40, $60, $100. You got all these people to start investing in XRP. And what is January? This shit's gone up like 9% already.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so like, hell yeah, I wish I would have known about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
Bitcoin was super cheap. I think right now it's sitting like at 100,000 for a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know? Give me a quote you live by every day.
Quote that I live by, just fucking do it, you know? Just get up and do that shit. Like, no complaining, no fucking groaning, like, just do it.
Hell yeah. And I strongly encourage that, you know. It's about going all the way. And I always tell people don't look for instant gratification, right? Because you want some people drop a song or two and be like, damn, why am I not blowing up yet?
Yeah.
Like, damn, why isn't nobody listening to my shit? You know, and it's like the real ones know like this shit's a journey.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's, you know, and obviously Nipsey put it best. Like it's a marathon, homie. It's not a sprint, you know? I want to leave it off there, man, but you know, we're obviously going to have more of you on here. You're from the hometown, dog. You're part of the home team now, you know? So I welcome you to the family, you know, with all of us. And you know, we're excited to see you grow. You know, we're gonna be strong supporters as well for ourselves. Whatever we could do to help, man, like we're here for you, bro. You know,
likewise.
Hell yes. Tell the people where they can find you and where they can locate you on social media.
Richie from the Valley on all social media. Richie Valley 818 on YouTube. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Fucking look up on my Instagram. Got plenty of shows coming. Any open mics, like fucking hit my DM.
Send them to the homie over here. What show you got coming up?
Next week I'm gonna be in NoHo. Yeah, I'm gonna post it today. Actually, I'm gonna be in NoHo. They're doing a opening. It's gonna be it's like a tattoo shop, a merch, like a storefront. It should be.
It's a small intimate show.
Yeah.
Hey man, who knows? Maybe ETV will pull up. We'll do a vlog over there, you know, for you.
Pull up, bro.
You know, and network. You know, a big thing is always networking. You know, and I love that.
Hell yeah.
Other than that, man, like it's a blessing, like I said. But the homie's part of the home team now, so you know, I don't really gotta say too much farewells and shit because you're gonna be here now. You know. Other than that, man, it's another episode of Yeee TV, episode 7. It's been another blessing. Everybody have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Please go out and check out the homie. I promise you won't be disappointed. There's big things coming, you know, and we're gonna definitely see the homie shine, y'all. You know, have a good weekend and farewells.